Climate crisis, a term which urges the aggressive climate change mitigation happening nowadays, when stronger storms force millions from their homes over and over again. It is a crisis. When lethal heat waves are the new normal, it is a crisis. The climate emergency is the defining issue of our times. The Guardian announced that this term would begin to use along with global heating. There is international consensus that human activities over the last 50 years have altered the Earth's natural climate. According to NASA, average surface temperature of the planet has risen about 0.9 degrees Celsius since the last 19th century. This change is driven largely by the increased carbon dioxide and other human-made emissions into the atmosphere. In Malaysia, climate change has resulted in floods, water shortages, and less food. In 2017, floods in Kelantan caused more than 30 million ringgits in damage, whereas floods in Penang caused 34 million ringgits in damage. Despite evidence of impacts such as more frequent floods, debate on climate change in Malaysia is still muted. Temperature and sea levels are rising, but most Malaysians don't link this to climate change and yet are complacent. Selangor, Malaysia's richest state, is expected to experience more frequent water shortages, said Dr. Rinat Siu. Crop yield in Malaysia has declined 10 to 15% annually due to the unpredictable weather. According to the world's leading climate scientists, there is only a dozen years to cap global warming to a maximum of 1.5 degrees Celsius. September 21, 2019, more than 350 protesters marched and hold placards calling for action against climate change in Kuala Lumpur. One of their official demands is to raise awareness among Malaysians about the climate crisis. Yeo Bin, the new Minister of Energy, Green Technology, Science and Climate Change of Malaysia, said, "We really need a plan on mitigation and adaptation. Mitigation refers to action taken to prevent further climate change, while adaptation refers to action taken to prepare for climate change by adjusting to its impacts. Afforestation and reforestation should be done to remove excess carbon dioxide emitted from our atmosphere. Fossil fuels shall be alternated with solar energy, hydroelectric power, and wind turbines. Forgo fossil fuels could greatly reduce greenhouse gases emitted from the fuel combustion and allow this planet to be sustainable for our future generation. There is still lack of awareness of climate crisis among Malaysians. Therefore, government should take up the responsibility of educating the citizens. New laws should be enacted to limit carbon emission, and polluters are required to pay for the emission they produce. World's climate is changing for the worse, and humans are responsible for it. Let's act now. Together, we can stop climate disaster."